So first of all, what we're doing tonight is introducing candidates, because tonight is about the all of the campaign that we're kicking off now, beginning with this intro tonight, and we'll have additional opportunities in the coming weeks, and we'll mention a few of those tonight to have deeper conversations with candidates. But tonight we want to focus somewhat on everybody's knowledge of the districts that they're in, how to help them out, the issues that are going to drive members to volunteer to be a part of this campaign effort, because that's so important to our candidates. In the coming months, you'll hear from candidates a number of times. We will keep doing this. And in March 6th, the virtual Meet the Candidates event is the next opportunity. This is something we're doing in lieu of the opportunity candidates usually have to talk with everyone at the caucuses. Also, if you do nothing else this evening after our meeting, please do follow the link you should see in the chat for signing up to elect delegates to the state convention for your town. And through that same link, you can nominate yourself to be a delegate. There are still towns that have openings that no one has nominated themselves for. There are fewer nominees in many towns than there are open slots for delegates to the state convention. So you have to complete that before the end of Sunday, the 20th. So it's coming right up. If you do it tonight, you won't have to worry about forgetting about it. On February 19th, we have events in Damariscotta and Boothbay. Damariscotta from 10 to 12 at Great Salt Bay, and Boothbay at the American Legion Hall from 1:30 to 3:30. Those are both great chances to sign nomination papers, make qualifying contributions for candidates for clean elections, etc. And candidates will be there, and volunteers as well, collecting signatures for others, but most of our local candidates are going to be there themselves. And lastly, again, March 6th, virtual Meet the Candidates event in lieu of our usual opportunity at the caucuses. Later, the results from the poll will be shared. I guess it's probably time to close that, Autumn, and we're going to hold off until some of the later discussion to actually show everybody what the results were. Think about those, think about other issues that are important to you this election year. We're going to be working to elect people that care strongly about those things, and everybody's involvement is an important part of making that happen. So enjoy the show. I'm going to pass this off to our head of our campaign initiative, Kelly. And you'll also be hearing from candidates and Howard this evening. And I'm going to take a back seat. Enjoy.
Chris, you can go eat your dinner now. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. You guys all know me. I'm Kelly Whitlock Burton. Autumn, I want to go off script for just a second and ask if you could spotlight Howard, just so I can introduce Howard quickly. I know you'll get to hear from him a little bit later in the program, but for people who haven't met, there you are. For people who haven't met Howard Waxman is our campaign manager. His face probably looks very familiar to you. He was the Maine Democratic Party field representative for us in 2018. Thanks to Howard's leadership, we were able to put together one of the largest groups of volunteers of any county committee in the state. We're looking forward to repeating that this year. In fact, we like competition. We're going to do better this year. We're going to have even more. So Howard is here. And if you have already gotten your Lincoln County news, be sure to take a look. There's an article about him in the paper this week. So you'll hear more from Howard in just a bit. We're going to start tonight with just a little bit of information I think might be helpful. I know it was helpful for me. We just went through a redistricting process. So a lot of the district numbers that we finally remembered, we now have to learn new ones. So that's something that's going to be fun to do. So Autumn's created some slides for us to go through. We're going to do this quickly. All of this information will be shared on our website. So don't worry, you'll all be able to find all of this later on. So Autumn, if you want to go to the first one. So our Senate District 13 luckily stays the same. That includes all of Lincoln County except for Dresden. It also includes Windsor and Washington. State Senate District 24, that's Eloise Vitelli's district, who she could not be with us tonight. She apologizes and she'll see you on March 6th. Dresden is the only town in Lincoln County that's a part of that, but it also includes all of Saginaw. State House District 45, that used to be District 90. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure that's my district, I should know, but this is Bremen, Louds Island, Waldoboro in Lincoln County. It also includes Friendship and Washington in Knox County. Can we do the next slide? There we go. State House District 46 is Bristol, Damariscotta, Newcastle, Nova Borough, Monhegan Island Plantation. State House District 47 is Alna, Jefferson, Whitefield, and Wiscasset. And District 48 is Booth Bay Harbor, Edgecombe, South Bristol, Southport, and Westport Island. District 62 includes Somerville and Hibbert Score in Lincoln County. It also includes China, Palermo, and Windsor. District 53 in the House is Dresden in Lincoln County. It also includes Chelsea, Pittston, and Randolph. This is a great, I loved this. This will definitely be on our website. It'll be easy for you just to find your town, and then you know your Senate and your House districts. And again, we'll drop this link into the chat for you in just a bit, so you can find all of that information on the website. Okay. Hold on, bear with me just a moment. Let me see what's next on the program. Oh, the candidates, that's what's next on the program. So this is good. We've got a full slate of candidates here tonight. As Chris mentioned earlier, we're going to have a lot of opportunities for the candidates to have some one-on-one with you and some really good interaction with the voters. But because tonight we really wanted to hear from our members a lot, and we want our candidates to hear from our members about the issues that are important to you, tonight's just an introduction. So you will hear more from them in the coming months. Don't worry about that at all. But for tonight, we're gonna do some just general introductions. So is Natasha on the call? Natasha Irving?
I'm here, yes.
Yay, Natasha. There we are.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Natasha Irving is our district attorney. She's for prosecutorial District 6. That includes Lincoln, Knox, Saginaw, and Waldo counties. In 2018, Natasha became the first Democrat and the first woman elected to this position. Natasha, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running and the issues that are important to you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. So Kelly and I I'm getting text messages. I'm on my phone tonight, folks, because my computer was updating and I gave up on that so I could be with you. So Kelly and I were Emerge sisters, and I'm forever grateful for her and for Emerge for getting a lot of women prepared and ready for politics. So that's where I got my start after I had run for school board, I had taken an appointment for school board, and I decided as an attorney in the Mid-Coast District, District 6, that it was time to have a Democrat in this office, and it was time to have a woman in this office, and it was time for some criminal justice reform. So that's what we've been working on over the last 3 years in office. We've really led the state in making sure that we're taking COVID seriously when it comes to making sure our jail populations are as safe as possible, meaning keeping our populations as low as safely possible for victims and for communities and for folks who are in the criminal justice system as defendants. And so we also, because we have really focused on that and worked cooperatively with the judiciary and law enforcement and some of the really wonderful You can hear my baby in the background. I'm sorry. Everybody, she's very cute and she's being very vocal. So she's been quiet all night until now. So working with some really great law enforcement partners and the judiciary in District 6, we've been able to keep the jail population as low as safely possible, again, for communities, victims, but also for folks who are involved in the criminal justice system as defendants. We've also kept our backlogs the lowest in the state, meaning that we have the lowest amount of excuse me, I'm going to change rooms. I'm sorry about that. So we have the lowest amount of pending cases. Excuse me, I'm going to try and find a good
You could take
background
about
here.
another minute, Natasha.
Okay, we have the lowest amount of pending cases, the change in higher pending cases in the state. And so that's some of the reasons that it's really important to keep a Democrat in this office and to keep criminal justice reform going in a reasonable fashion in the Mid-Coast District. We can continue to be leaders. We can continue to take the pandemic very seriously within the criminal justice system. So I need everybody's support in getting on the ballot and getting as many signatures as possible, and then making sure that everybody understands how important it is to keep this district in Democratic hands. So thank you so much to Chris and to Kelly for all of your help, and to all the Democrats.
Of course. Thank you, Natasha. And I love that your daughter is finding her voice. We always want women to find their voice as early as possible. So thank you. Natasha, if you're able, if you're not, I think Marty's on the call. He could drop some links in the chat to your website and to one thing too, and this is something we'll get to in just a bit, but Natasha is not eligible for clean elections funding. So she's hopefully got a fundraising site that she can drop in there too, so that we can support her that way. Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sheriff Todd Brackett. This marks his 20th year as Lincoln County Sheriff. He was first elected in 2002. And we'd love to hear from you, Sheriff Brackett, about why you're running again and the kinds of things you want to do in the next term and how we can help.
Well, thank you, Kelly. It's a pleasure to be here. It's always good to see everybody. My name is Todd Brackett. I'm new sheriff here in Lincoln County, first elected in 2002, as Kelly mentioned. I'm seeking my 6th term as sheriff. I just turned 55 last October, so I still have some fight in me, I hope. We have lots of interesting things going on in law enforcement, and lots of things going on around Lincoln County. And it's a changing time for law enforcement. I think public trust and community relations is more important than ever. That's going to be my focus in this coming term. We've just been working to put together a citizens advisory committee. And really my goal is to increase transparency. I want folks to understand what it is we do as your local law enforcement, how we do it, the tools we use, the policies we use, why we do the things we do. And I want your feedback on it. I really want to know how folks around Lincoln County are feeling about the law enforcement services that they're receiving. So it's an exciting time for me. There's a lot of dynamics, a lot of change going on in law enforcement, which is a good for an old timer like me, if you will. This is my 35th year in law enforcement. I started in 1986 when I was 20 years old as a deputy in Kennebec County. And law enforcement has really been a challenging and rewarding career for me. And I still a lot to do, a lot going on, and I look forward to continuing as your sheriff. That's about it, Kelly. I want to take time for those folks who have more to say, you know.
Thank you, Sheriff Brackett. I appreciate that. And it's wonderful to hear the focus on transparency. That is something that we're truly lucky to have here in Lincoln County with you as our sheriff. Next up, we have David Levesque. David is one of 2 Democratic candidates who's running to be the Maine State Senate for the Maine State Senate to serve District 13. So David, tell us a little about yourself, why you're running, and some of the issues that are going to be a focus of your campaign.
Sure. Thank you, Kelly. As Kelly said, my name is David Levesque, and I am running for the Maine State Senate for District 13. Just a little bit of background on me. I've lived in Newcastle for the last 22 years with my wife, Susan, who is a math and robotics teacher at Lincoln Academy. And we live there with our 3 sons, who are age 14, 17, and 26. I am originally from Hancock County, graduated from Ellsworth High School, went on to the University of Maine at Farmington, then obtained a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Maine, Southern Maine, and then my law degree from the University of Maine School of Law. I've been practicing law for the last 25 years. 23 of them have been out of an office in Damascotta. So during that time as well, I've been on a lot of boards and committees and took leadership roles in those. For example, I was the chair of the Board of Visitors of the University of Maine at Farmington. I was the president of the Maine State Bar Association, president of the Damascotta Chamber of Commerce, and currently I'm serving on the Newcastle Select Board, and I'm the chair of the town's broadband committee, and also serve on the board of the Carpenter's Boat Shop. So I am committed to community service and leadership, and I would like to take my professional experience and leadership skills to the Maine Senate and represent the district and work on some issues that are very important to me, like healthcare, education, climate change, and the epidemic of addiction and substance abuse. I do invite you all to join me in that effort, and I ask you to help with $5 qualifying donations and seed money. I'll put information in the chat for your so that you can contact me, and I hope to meet you all in person sometime. So thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Looking forward to when we all can be together in person, that's for sure. Our next candidate to speak will be Cameron Rennie. She is our second Democratic candidate for the State Senate for District 13. Hi, Cameron. Looks like you're still in your classroom.
No, this is in my home, actually.
Oh, okay. That's gorgeous. Okay. You could tell us a little bit about yourself and issues that are important to you and how we can help.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you all for taking the time to be here. So I'm Cameron Rennie. I live in my hometown of Bristol. I grew up in a working class family and money was often tight. And unfortunately, my father struggled with a lot of untreated mental illness as well as substance use disorder. So there was some rough times in there, but I persevered. I worked my way through college, and I always knew I wanted to make the world a better place than I found it, which is what led me to being a state certified school counselor. I love my job. I've had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of the extras. I've run after school clubs for kids. I have been on various school-wide and district-wide committees for designing policies and procedures. And I was lucky enough to be able to give some time to the Maine School Counselor Association and did serve as chair for a number of years. I've also been able to testify in Augusta back before they let you do it by Zoom on various bills. So the best part of my job, though, is working with local kids and families. And so after a number of years in education, as well as having 2 young kids of my own now, I just think it's more important than ever that we preserve a bright future for our children and the next generation. And that's what led me to run for state senate. So there are 3 big things that I think go along with this, the issues that are close to me. It's affordable housing, accessible and affordable healthcare, of course, and climate change. Housing in this district has skyrocketed in the past 5 years. And the very small amount of housing that is here is not affordable. This is displacing families. Families are ending up homeless. This is making it so people cannot move here and join our communities and join our economies. I want to go to Augusta and bring together stakeholders to come up with some creative solutions to this issue. Healthcare is a big one for me. Healthcare needs to include mental health services, and it needs to include services for people who have substance use disorder. And, you know, insulin has gone up incredibly over the past 20 years. Things like dialysis for people whose kidneys don't work cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. These big corporations and pharmaceutical companies are holding life-saving medications and treatments for ransom.
About another 30 seconds, Cameron.
Oh no. Okay, I'll
Yes.
keep going. Climate change, it's a big deal. We do not have a future without our environment. Our kids don't have a future without our environment. Our fisheries, our agriculture, our tourism, all depends on it. We need to pass the Pine Tree Amendment. We need to implement it. I want to help do that. I need your help to get me to Augusta so I can work for you and for us. Please, please, please look at my links over in the chat. Go to my website. I'll take your $5 for my Clean Elections campaign. If you have the time, please, I'll take your time. Volunteer, come join my team. I probably went over, I'm sorry. Thank you again for your.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron, very much. Bill Blodgett was unable to join us tonight. He is running for his 8th term as County Commissioner, District 2. We can share some information later. Autumn, if you could put a spotlight on Clint. Well, just one moment.
All right, well, then let's go without a spotlight and
Yeah.
we'll hear from Clint. I wish everybody could see you, but let's not lose the chance to hear from you.
Absolutely. So Clint Collimore has just declared this past week he will be the Democratic candidate for House District 45, which is mine. Yay. So that's Waldeboro, obviously. So Clint, and if you could see him, you'd see that he's there with Rhonda, his wife. So Clint, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running and the kinds of issues that you'll be talking about in your campaign.
Well, being a new greenhorn to all of this, my name's Clinton Collimore. I live in Waldeboro. I've lived in this area my entire life. The new district drops Union and adds Bremen. So that's key. I'm a lobsterman, a lobster out of Bremen. I believe I'm a 4th generation now. It's been 18 years on the select board in Waldeboro, many as chair. Went to Bremen grade school, 60s and 70s, 58 people in 8 grades. So, I mean, that's how big we were. And then I went to Madomic Valley High School, Region 8 Midcoast School of Technology. And I'm a graduate of UMA with a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Administration. I also spent time as president of the Machinists Union in Bath Iron Works, where I was a machinist for 23 years. And I'll never forget this, and I just got to share this. I remember Mr. Wilson, the HR guy, I told him in the spring of, I believe it was 81, I said, well, you know, as soon as the price of clams and lobsters get up here, I'm out of here. He goes, well, I'll tell you something, Mr. Collimore, I've heard these things before. 23 years later, he was right on target. My mortgage was paid off, I had my 2 kids, and I finally left that place. I'm a member of the Waldeboro Masons Lodge, the Rockland Elks Lodge, Maine Lobsters Association, and I'm a lifetime member of Sportsman Alliance Maine. Reasons for running. Now, we had to think about this a bit, as Kelly and Chris could tell you. I really thought quite hard about this. To start with, Jeff is not. And Jeff is a perfect person for this job. And I had spoke with him a couple of years ago. And
About another minute.
his health issues and whatnot. And so anyway, so I'm very concerned about the rules and regulations, the fishing industry. Everyone pretty much knows about that, and it continues yearly. Being the oldest town in the United States, people are struggling to pay property taxes, heating bills, prescriptions, now with the CMP stuff. There's way too much politics and everything. We need to try to change this. We never used to label people by parties. We need to create positive relationships. I did that at Bath. This isn't Washington DC, this is Maine. And lastly, I'd just like to add that I'm also doing this for our friend, Betsy Worcester. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Clint. Thank you very much. Lydia Croft, Representative Lydia Croft is our next speaker. She is running for her second term as state rep for House District 46, I believe is your new number. Is that correct?
That is true. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks everyone here.
Yes, please.
I have the immense privilege and pleasure to serve in what is still House District 90 for the rest of the year. And it's been an incredible year since I started in office back in December of 2020. It's, when I was running 2 years ago and COVID struck, we were looking at a statewide budget shortfall over $1 trillion. And to think back 2 years to how far we've come as a state, it's an incredible honor to be in Augusta, to be looking at a budget surplus of over $800 million and to really have the opportunity to put every single one of those dollars to work for Maine people. As I'm sure folks are following along, the governor's just put forward her supplemental budget, and the Democratic caucus is hard at work prioritizing the needs of working Mainers across our entire state, and I look forward to being there for the whole process. People have been asking me from day one if I plan to run for re-election, and my message the whole time was, I'm here to do the work, and I haven't stopped learning yet, so it's not time to give up. It's been challenging serving, I think, during COVID, returning now in person for more in-session time has shown me how far I've come in the past year and getting to know folks from both sides of the aisle. And I think it can only go from here. So I appreciate all of your support, and I'm excited for campaign season 2022.
Thank you so much, Lydia. If you wanted to drop your website links, your Facebook links into the chat so that people can follow you there. And next up, we have Representative Holly Stover, who is running for her third term as state rep for District 48.
Good evening and thank you. It's great to see everyone. I am running for my third term, and I was trying to think what hasn't been said already, but when I first ran, some of the fundamental things that I realized that I do believe that healthcare is a right. And I've served for the past 3 years on the Health and Human Services Committee, where healthcare and healthcare related issues come up every day, whether it's through the Medicaid program, through the way that we fund mental health and substance use disorder, and all of the other things, initiatives that we do around healthcare. There's other committees that deal with healthcare as well, but we continue to fight to make sure that Mainers, if they qualify for Medicaid, that's great, but we need to ensure that other insurances stay in place so that everyone has the fundamental right to healthcare. And I agree with what Carmen said earlier about we have to make sure that there's equity in coverage. I always say everything above the collarbone and everything below, that everything gets covered. And oftentimes we don't think of it that way. I've had the privilege and the honor of serving on the Health and Human Services Committee for the past 3 years. It is not for the faint of heart. We are on average meet 4 days a week, and we have a lot of homework, but it is probably the most rewarding committee because we cover everything from PFAS, water, lead, all the way up to substance use disorder, mental health. We did the Death with Dignity bill in my first term, which was an amazing honor. So I want to continue to do the work I've started out to do. I'm on the Government Oversight Committee. I recently became the House Chair of the Government Oversight Committee. The former chair has resigned, Genevieve McDonald from Stonington, and those are big shoes to fill, but I'm really excited to be co-chairing Government Oversight, which has the distinguished opportunity to do evaluations and reviews of all state agencies, and a look across various issues. So it's a very encompassing, and we're spending a lot of time right now on child welfare. And child welfare is a very big issue for our state, for every one of us in Lincoln County and the other 15 counties. And there's so much more work to do. We've made some real inroads in the past 3 years. And I guess I'm running again, and I see all of my colleagues out there that are running. And we're all running for the same reason, to continue the work that needs to get done, to continue to provide tax relief to people, to find ways to have affordable housing. We are in a housing desert. We live in a desert and there's no affordable housing. And we have provided opportunities so that those are housed. Some of our hardest working people, they're going to keep their homes because of homestead exemption raising, because of revenue sharing
Another
returning
30
to our
seconds,
towns.
Holly.
Thank you. And because of general purpose aid to our schools, all those things, the net result of that is people get to stay in their homes. We're a hardworking county where we have a tremendous disparity between abject poverty and extreme wealth in my district and many of the other districts in this county. And those create disparities that have to continue. We have to continue to fight to be at the same table in Augusta. And we're going to do it because you're going to help us all get elected. And I'm grateful to you every day. I will take your $5 donations, your volunteer time, and your love, and everything else we're going to need between now and November 8th. And I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for every bit of support I've had for the past almost 4 years, 3.5 anyway. So I appreciate you all greatly and look forward to working with you from now until November 8th. Go Democrats.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that very much. We also were joined this evening by John Glowa, who is from South China, and John is one of the Democratic candidates for governor. John, tell us a little bit about yourself and what some of the issues are that you'll be campaigning on.
Thank you very much. Right now, I'm the only Democratic candidate for governor, the only announced Democratic candidate for governor. My name is John Glowa Sr. I live in China. I'm a 7th generation Mainer born in Aroostook County. I worked for the Maine DEP for nearly 30 years. I'm a 35-year union member, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Economics and a Master's in a degree in Public Administration. I'm running for governor to begin a nationwide movement starting here in Maine to shift the paradigm away from government of, by, and for the money to government of, by, and for the people. I'm a clean election candidate, and I practice what I preach. I want to re-engage voters and get them excited about voting for a candidate they want instead of against a candidate they don't want. Maine's government is a mess, and that's putting it mildly. Evidence of this mess are the more than 24 Maine children who died from abuse or neglect last year, and a government that puts business and money before people. I'm running for governor to make Maine and our government the best they can be. I oppose the so-called clean energy corridor, and I support the following: labor and the right of all workers to organize, people and science over politics and money, a strong system of public education and affordable tuition for all, a progressive tax structure and elimination of tax loopholes and tax breaks for the wealthy, widespread state government reform, Pine Tree Amendment and the right to a clean, healthy environment, reproductive freedom, and tribal sovereignty and equality among all people. It will be my goal to not lose a single Maine child to abuse and neglect. And I pledge to work to make Maine's child welfare system the best in the nation. I am a mental health consumer, having dealt with depression and anxiety. I want to serve as a role model to all Mainers to eliminate the stigma of mental illness and to encourage those who need help to get it. Here is my plan for reforming Maine's government. First, as governor, I will appoint an apolitical task force of outside experts on government to take public input and examine the Constitution, laws, and rules, and to recommend systemic changes. We must reform the system of state government. Second, I want to get politics.
John.
Pardon me?
About another
How
half
much?
minute.
Half a minute? Okay. I want to get politics out of the executive branch and run it using the principles of management. Governor, I'll create an apolitical team of auditors to regularly audit the workings of every department and every program. Third, Maine needs a leader. Maine needs a governor who will, by example, change the mindset of government so that it works for people, not the other way around. In closing, I ask you to remember what the Democratic Party stands for. It stands for democracy. Let the people decide who will be on the November ballot. Don't repeat the mistake of the 2010 gubernatorial election when too many Democrats put party first, and in so doing, put Mr. LePage in the Blaine house. We cannot let this happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate everything that you shared. And if you haven't already dropped your link into the chat for your website, if you could do that, that would be great so people could learn a little bit more and follow you that way.
I have already done that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our candidates. Not only were you amazing speakers, you also stuck to your time. That is amazing and awesome. I'm pretty sure it's a record of some kind. So we're going to move on next to how we can help our clean elections candidates get elected. And Howard is going to talk with you a little bit about how that works.
Okay. Can we get the first slide up there? The first clean election slide. Thank you. Okay, so I did a little research. Clean elections started actually over 1996. So this has been going on for about 25 years more. And the purpose obviously is to get big money out of politics. We can hope that someday the United States will become a civilized nation where there's a limited amount of money. It's the same for everyone. And so it'll strictly be about the issues and not who can spend the most. But until that time, we are working towards that with the Clean Elections bill and the Clean Elections process. It was amended in 2015 to allow continuing contributions after the campaign begins, but they can't come from the same person. So basically, you can give a $5 qualifying donation now to the candidates of your choice, to each one of them. That will get them to receive matching funds or funds from the government that have been put aside for clean elections. And they can later on continue to get that, but you cannot give more than the $5 that you initially gave. So they will hopefully be reaching out to more people who will want to help them once the campaign gets underway, once they're declared and they're underway as a clean elections candidate. The qualifying contributions, we have the $5, it goes to the Maine Clean Election Fund, not directly to the candidate. They get the money afterwards. You can also help them with seed money, which they can get up to $100 from an individual. Total amount that they can collect for a House candidate is $1,000. For a Senate candidate, $3,000. And if you're running for governor and you qualify in the clean election for seed money, you can get $200,000. It's quite a jump. Makes you want to run for governor more than anything else. You can only spend the seed money on the campaign prior to receiving the clean elections funds. That is, you can spend the seed money that you get. You can't spend any other money. You can only spend the seed money in that period prior to getting your clean election funds. And again, the money comes from individuals. It cannot come from a company or corporation. It cannot come from a lobbyist. It can only come from individuals. Now, if you have more than, if you're in a family situation, each member of the family can contribute $5. It doesn't have to come from the whole family. So that increases the amount that people can get. You have time till April 20th to make your contribution. You can, if you're coming to any of the events, to sign petitions for the candidates. They'll also be collecting the clean elections funds there. And you can give them cash or a check right on the spot. But if you want to use the online method, we're going to show you how to do that. You can see here, and this will be in the chat also, the LincolnCountyDemocrats.com/clean5 is a way to for people to make an online contribution. So the first slide will, if you go to that site, it'll give you that initial information. You can make qualifying contributions. And the site accepts Visa or MasterCard. It doesn't accept American Express. And if you think about that, American Express is more or less thought of as a business card. Obviously, people use it as an individual card, but it has the the positioning of being a business card. So that plus the fact that I think they charged a higher amount for use has taken them out of consideration. So you've got to have a Visa card or a MasterCard. It can be a debit card. It can be a credit card. And if you're going to use the site, I highly recommend that you have the card ready before you begin the process. So you suddenly discover you're at the page where you have to put the information in and it's not at hand. So a good thing to do. I'm sure everybody has a lot of experience shopping online, but it's always good to have the credit card ready. So when you go into the site, the first page that you're going to get is going to ask you where you live, the information, your town, your street address. It's going to ask for your name. You need to be a qualified voter for that party a registered voter in that community. And if you go to the next page, please, you can see exactly who the people are that you can make contributions to. And Kelly, this is yours, right? This is from your location. So you can see the House District 45 candidates, and you can see the Senate District 13 candidates. It's Republicans and Democrats. And you can see the amount that you can contribute is that $5 for each one of them. So you decide who you're going to contribute to. You can click over on the side there in the little box, who you're going to make your contributions to. You'll get the next page where you'll see the total that you're contributing, and you can sign that, basically type in your name, and that qualifies as a signature. And then you can go on and make your, got the credit card ready, and you put in the credit card information, your billing information. Pretty much like shopping online. If you've never shopped online, what country do you live in? I'm not sure. And then the final page will give you your receipt, your confirmation. Kelly has blocked out her information. I was hoping to get her credit card number and do some shopping myself, but she's crossed it out. So it's a very, very simple process. Go to the site that through Lincoln County Democrats, make your contribution online. Basically 3 steps. You're going to see the name. You're going to put your information in, see the names, click on who you're contributing to. It's going to confirm the amount. You're going to put your credit card information in, and you're going to get a confirmation. Couldn't be simpler. The only thing simpler would be going to the candidate and handing them $5. I think that's about it on contributions. Did I miss anything, Kelly?
Nope, you hit it all. That was really good. And it really does. It took me, I don't know, maybe 60 seconds, at most 2 minutes. It's very simple.
But you're still not going to give us your credit card number?
I will not. No, sorry.
Okay. All right. I tried.
What we're going to wrap up with tonight is to talk about how we're going to keep Lincoln County blue. And I realize that we are purple, but I think we took a big swing toward blue in 2020, and I think we could keep that momentum going this way. The biggest piece of what we need to do to keep Lincoln County blue is all of you. We have so many needs for volunteers. If you don't like knocking on doors, we've got a million other things you can do. We need people to drive candidates. We need people to drive canvassers. We need people to help us out in the office when we get our office. We need people to bake foods for our canvassers. We need people to write letters to voters. We need people to help our candidates with their response cards. Literally anything you can do, and anytime you have to do it, we will make that work. So I'm going to drop into the chat now a sign up form for our 2022 campaign. If I can multitask. There we go. And you can also find this, as Autumn has said, these will be sharing these links out with everybody, but we're hoping that that people will start to sign up because there's a lot we can be doing now. And certainly once we get into the summer, things will really, really pick up quickly. One of the other things, there we go. Tom has, oh yes. So, and I'll mention that in just 1 second, Tom. So we've got a couple of opportunities for you to actually meet in person with the candidates this coming weekend. We have 2 on Saturday. One of them is in, as Chris said earlier, one is in Damariscotta at Great Salt Bay Saturday morning. It's 10 a.m. to noon. And then we have one Saturday afternoon in Booth Bay. That's 1:30 to 3:30 at the American Legion Hall. And on Sunday in Wiscasset, there will be a signing and clean elections donations at the town office from 1 to 4. We're trying to get one in Waldoboro too. We're having a little trouble finding a location. Waldoboro isn't filled with big spaces where we can meet. So, but we're hoping to be able to find a place. I'm multitasking here. Bear with me. Gonna drop some information into the chat here. Let's see. The other thing that we want to do is connect you with your town committees. We have Democratic town committees in almost all of our towns, and some of them are doing amazing work, and all of them could be doing amazing work if we had more people involved. So there is a page on our website that lists all of the town chairs and their contact information. And we're going to be working with them and with you to connect you in more ways. And in fact, if you come to the meetings to the signing events in Damariscotta and Booth Bay on Saturday, we're going to have chairs and officers from the town committees in those areas to come and meet with you and to sign you up. So be sure to join us for that too. So as I was saying, we're going to have a great year here. We're going to have we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a lot of fun.